Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and gays.
From gutters to gay bars and everywhere in between.
Here to finish off your Tuesday, it's your three besties, two brunettes and a gay. Hello, everybody!
Welcome.
It is two brunettes and a gay here, better known as Celeste
Deanna.
And your favourite gay, Aaron.
And we are so excited to be here at Radio Italia Uno for our first official show on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, guys.
Happy Valentine's Day, doll.
Day, lovers.
It's been one hell of a week getting here, let's not lie.
Oh.
Look, it's hard work putting together our radio show, and especially this one being our first one, all by ourselves as well.
It's definitely been a journey, but we are here. And we are so excited to be here. We couldn't be more grateful for Radio Italia for having us and for so many people that have helped us to get here today on this journey. But we're going to do plenty of thank yous later in the show because we want to kick off our first official show the way that we would usually do. So we've got some big news from this week. Let's kick it off, Deanna.
So firstly, a big happy Valentine's Day to all of our listeners. You know, whether you're loved up or you're just loving the single life or you just don't care about Valentine's Day and you think it's a crock, which David, who is doing our panelling, as always, David Heath in the studio, keeping it real
Not
for
a
us,
fan.
is shaking his head about Valentine's Day. So whether you're a thumbs up or a thumbs down for Valentine's Day, we're here to celebrate with you regardless. So pour yourself a glass of vino and enjoy the show. We also want to give a little shout out to our special Valentines because they're all here in the studio with us and they're all been here to support us on this journey. So happy Valentine's Day to my Valentine Brenton.
Happy Valentine's Day to my husband, Jake.
And happy Valentine's Day to the fabulous husband of mine, Mark.
Give him a round of
Give him a round
applause,
of
guys.
applause.
What a day to
Thank
have
you.
our first show.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right. And then I guess Fringe starts this week is the other big news.
Huge
Oh my
news.
gosh, I can't believe it's Fringe time again. Can you believe it?
It is Fringe again, and this is actually a special occasion for us, isn't it?
It is. It's been 10 years since our very first Fringe show. Can you believe that? 10 years.
I can't believe it's been 10 years since we started Fringe, but 15 years since we started working together. It's been quite a journey.
Wow, from one venture to another. I mean, the first venture we did in Fringe was a show called Broadway Baby, which was, it was all right. It had its moments.
Look, originally, Aaron, you weren't even in the group.
Originally, the show was actually called LA Baby, which goes to show you how well we did with it because Aaron didn't even remember the name of it.
Oh, there you go. I blocked it out of my memory completely.
10 years ago, like it never happened.
I think Broadway Baby's actually the dog of Abby Lee Miller. I don't know why I said Broadway
I heard
Baby.
you say Broadway Baby, and I thought, I'm going to let that one slide. No, embarrass him on the first
First
show,
show
but you
already.
know what?
Not going to let that
That's
one
it.
slide.
No, it was LA Baby, and it was actually Celeste and I and another friend of ours, shout out to Vicky as well, who's a singer, who started off with us when we were three brunettes and a gay a little while ago.
Until we got rid of her, yep.
Until we got rid of her? No, just kidding.
Just kidding, we love you, Vicky.
Aaron, you were actually our narrator, and then...
I was, and if only I'd had David Heath mentoring me, I think the show could have been a hit.
you would have been a better narrator. No, you know what it was? Aaron stole the show, really, and so the next year we were like, shit, we better bring him into the main
100%.
group.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there on
He
that
was-
one.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the favourites in the show, and we thought, you know what, we've got to strike while the iron's hot and grab this gay and make something of it. And so then Three Brunettes and a Gay was born, and then 10 years later, here we are, not in Fringe ourselves this year, just to clear that up in case anyone was expecting to maybe come and get tickets to our show. We don't have one. But it has been 10 years since we started doing them, and 3 years since we did our last, 2020.
Wow, and now we're faces for radio. Can you believe it?
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, like, after our Fringe journey being, sometimes a hit, sometimes a flop, we thought, why not try our hand at radio? here we are, but we're excited because we actually are starting in, the beginning of Fringe, and over the next 4 weeks for you all, we have some incredible guests from different various Fringe shows around Adelaide, and so we're super excited to be on the other side of the microphone this time, I guess, speaking to everybody about their shows, and that actually starts today. Later on in this show, we've got some special guests coming up for you as well, so stay tuned for those.
And the biggest news of the week, I have to say, the literal biggest news of the week, Rihanna is pregnant again. Can we believe it?
I didn't know she was pregnant before.
I know. Is it? Now, I have to say, the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Everyone's gushing about it, but I found it very, very boring. Look,
well, are they?
Yeah.
She is pregnant. I get it. And she was like flying high on those, platforms going, hundreds of metres above the stadium. But I found the performance very lacklustre. What did you think?
Look, I mean, as a performer, obviously I try my best to put myself in their shoes and be on the other side of everything and appreciate everything that another performer does. But I gotta say, I thought it wasn't a huge effort on Rihanna's part as a performer.
Look, I thought that the staging of the show itself was actually really cool. She had a lot of dancers, a lot of people working with her, which all looked awesome. The show itself, though, there was no costume changes. There was even the staging didn't really change all that much. So from a looks perspective, it looked kind of cool, but then it got boring after 4 or 5 minutes. And then by the 13-minute mark, because I think that's about 12 minutes is how long it goes for. Yeah. Mm-hmm. By the end of it, I was like, okay, we could have done something more with this. Like we said, we understand she's pregnant and obviously maybe, she might not have been feeling 100% or whatever the case is, but I was disappointed.
I was disappointed too, and I think it's also because you stack it up next to the amazing Super Bowl shows we've already had. So we've had Michael Jackson, who kicked it all off in the mid-90s. We've also had, Madonna, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga. Yeah. Now, Lady Gaga's Super Bowl show, that was complete opposite.
That
amazing. Even
incredible.
J-Lo and Shakira had to share the Super Bowl not that long ago, and then you see Rihanna, who gets the whole show to herself, and I kind of wish she had done more with it because there were so many amazing artists that didn't get their own.
But you know what? I think this really begs the question: would you? I mean, Aaron, maybe not for you specifically, but maybe Celeste, would you actually want to do the Super Bowl pregnant? As a woman, and this is for all the listeners out there as well, if that was your opportunity, would you actually want to do this once-in-a-lifetime thing that you're never going to do again, actually, while being pregnant?
Aaron, would you want to do it while pregnant?
With a food baby, no.
Definitely not a food baby.
Not up and down that platform with the food baby? Oh.
No, in all seriousness, I mean, I don't know how it works specifically, and we'd love to hear, from listeners. Let us know on social media if you know a little bit more about this as well. But, was she pregnant when they booked it? Was she not?
Look,
was it
I'm going
to
say that perhaps when she booked it, or when I don't even know if they book it, or they tender for it, or are they, go in for it? I don't know how it works.
I think artists actually bid for it, or the companies bid for it, basically tendering for it, saying, look, have us as your headline act. And I think what happened was Rihanna got it, and then she maybe, was celebrating, getting in the mood with her partner, and hence what happened yesterday.
and that's where we landed. I don't know.
That's where we landed.
But you know what? Look, at the end of the day, she did her show, and we'll probably never have to see her do it again. So that wrapped up the Super Bowl.
I think there's mixed opinions on this one, and other side of the story. I mean, I'll take it. I've never been pregnant myself, so I don't know how hard that is. I know it's different for everyone as well. So I think it was a tricky situation for her, but interesting. Probably not my favourite of the Super Bowl shows.
No, but go girl. She did good for what she did. I mean, and in the end, the Super Bowl is not just Rihanna. We've also got the Super Bowl ads. That's important too. The Super Bowl ads, they're important.
I also think there was a game or something. Apparently, I don't know.
What sport do they actually play on the Super Bowl? That's the question.
Table tennis? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, this is the wrong show for that anyway, because today's show being all about love. Valentine's Day can be something that's like a beautiful memory for people, or sometimes it can be a huge letdown as well. Yeah. And, we've got our fair share of Valentine's Day stories, whether they be good, they be bad, they be ugly. I'm sure some of you out there have some incredible Valentine's Day stories as well.
Oh, but let me tell you, speaking of dates, sometimes, or most times, they generally don't go to plan. Okay. Now, girls, I've got a confession here today.
Tell us.
Did I ever tell you about a little hairy incident I had on a date a few years back?
I don't know. Did you?
I mean, like, I know that you have been on quite a few dates, but I don't know about a hairy incident.
Well, ladies, I've got a confession, and I'll tell you more after the break.
We are two brunettes and a gay, and before the break, Aaron, you were telling us that there was a little bit of a hairy incident relating to a Valentine's Day date. So, we've all been waiting. We've all been wanting to hear what actually happened.
Well, all right, if I must, I'll give you guys a bit of an exclusive, all right?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear this one. Tell us your story, Aaron.
So, you've got to picture it, okay? So we're talking the mid-2000s. Fabulous time. Peak of Sex in the City, right? So I was living my best Carrie fantasy, just going on many dates, having a good time. I was more a Samantha, to be honest.
I can see that.
Totally Samantha. But, my heart was Carrie. But anyway, so this one embarrassing incident. So I was at the Mars Bar long ago, and yes, anyone that is listening in that remembers the Mars Bar, those were the days. Those good old days when, before social media, you could really just have a great old time, let your hair down and go home at 6 o'clock in the morning with whoever you liked. And so this one night I met a beautiful, beautiful man. He was dancing on the dance floor topless, and he had long, flowy hair, a bit like Fabio, and I know that's a bit of an old reference. I don't know what to compare it to these days. Maybe Thor?
Yeah.
Maybe Thor.
Right up your alley.
Thor and his hammer.
Like, you like those nice masculine men, don't you?
I do like masculine men, yeah. Like myself, you can tell I'm totally masculine.
Absolutely.
So, as you can tell, this beautiful man was on the dance floor with long, flowing hair, and we're dancing up a storm. And he offers to buy me a drink, so buys me a drink, and then he gives me his phone number. So I put it into my Nokia 5510, as you do. And I went home, and then the next day he messaged me and said, oh, look, had a great time last night, would love to catch up for a drink or, go out for dinner. And I'm a big fan, I don't know about you guys, but I'm always a big fan of a drink date, because a drink date you can either, get in there, have a great time and lead to dinner or dancing, or you can escape very quickly.
See, that says a lot about you as a person, because I'm more of a drinks after dinner, but you're a drinks before dinner type.
I'm a drinks at any old time, Celeste.
You're a drinks at 9 a.m. in the morning on the way to work.
This was a breakfast date, though, wasn't it?
This was a breakfast date, so it was mimosas at that point, yeah. So the next day, yeah, we teed up some drinks, and I met him again, and of course, I had my sober eyes on. So of course, I think, well, they matched up to my drunk eyes. So,
Was he still Fabio?
He was still Fabio, yeah. Ooh. So he had a fabulous body. It really worked out a lot, like a very solid man. Anyway, I'm going into too much detail here. So we go out for drinks, and then we hit the dance floor, and we go for a boogie. Everything's going fabulously. And we decide to call it a night. We think, well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We've had a big night. Let's, just call it a night. So we leave the club, and we decide to sort of, see each other off. And one thing leads to another, and I decide to give him a pash.
Very nice. That's how you want it to end.
It's a good end to the day, right? It's a happy ending,
so.
In a way.
PG for you, Aaron.
It's PG for me, yes. So here comes the confession, right, girls?
Okay. Oh, God.
I'm ready. Brace yourself, everybody.
All right. So we go in for the pash. Everything's great. Our lips lock. My hand just goes to brush through that lustrous hair.
Oh, God.
And all of a sudden, the wig falls off. Now, believe me, I think this is the most awkward I've ever felt in my life. And that says a lot, because I've worked with you girls. So,
absolutely.
So I have to say, I didn't know what to do, and I was thinking, okay, just keep your eyes closed, just keep pashing, and just pretend nothing happened.
Did you put it back on? Did you try and fumble
hands, right?
and stick it back on his head?
It literally fell on the pavement. And I won't say what street it was, because I don't want to give away too much detail, but every time I go past that street now, all I can remember is that wig on the pavement.
And what was the situation underneath? Are we talking like full shaved head?
He had a full shaved head, and he was still beautiful. Like, he was a beautiful man.
So he didn't even need the wig?
He did not need the wig.
Okay.
And I love a shaved head.
I don't care about the wig. I want to know, what was his reaction to the fact that you pulled his hair off?
Well, thank God there was no Just Adelaide things back then, I have to say. That would have been awful. I was in shock, and he was in shock, and I felt really awful for him. So I tried to make, the the situation more comfortable. So, you know, I just finished the pash and just gave him a smile and a hug. And he just awkwardly took his hands off of me, picked up the wig, and I'm not saying he put it straight back on his head. He literally picked up the wig, and this thing was matted by the time he picked it back up again, right? So it's got all dirt on it, you know, there's probably ants and stuff. He picked up this wig, it's all matted. He attempted to put it back on his head, but he thought, no, forget it.
Just walk away. At that point, just walk away.
So basically all he did was give me an awkward look and say, thanks, see you later. Got in a cab, never saw him again.
And that was it?
That is my wigman story.
So wait, was this in the... you said this was in the day of mobile phones, right? So you could have communicated through text. This wasn't like a home phone situation.
So this wasn't a home phone situation. So again, I reached out to him the next day and I said, look, you know...
Sorry about your wig.
No, I think I said something like, you know, don't wig out about the situation, you know, that kind of thing. No,
that was a hairy date.
It was a hairy day. But it was really awkward and I felt really awful for him, you know, because there's, you know, dates are really awkward in themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and I don't think I've ever felt in my life that I would come across that situation.
Yeah.
No.
And if I did, I was thinking, well, maybe if I'd met like an older man that, you know, had lost their hair and they were wearing a toupee, maybe it was a Stanley Walker situation or, sorry, what was his name? Stanley from Golden Girls.
You're on your own on that one.
Oh, yeah. Look, the girls don't know the Golden Girls references.
I know. Look, we know the Golden Girls, but not well like you. That's another. That's another.
You're showing your age here.
Stanley's Bornak. Sorry, I have to say
showing your age.
But yeah, I thought that was going to be the situation. But no. So you know, I can't be the only one that has gone on a bad date.
Well, Deanna, have you been on a bad date? Have you got any, you know, special Valentine's Day story?
You know, I feel like I'm really useless in this situation because I know people have been talking about, you know, Valentine's Day and their bad dates or any bad dates that have been going on. And I got married really, really young and I met my ex-husband when I was like 17 years old. So I actually missed the whole dating phase.
Yeah.
And then, you know, now that I'm older, you know, since I've been divorced, I don't really, like the dating situation is a little bit different. So not me, but how about you, Celeste?
Absolutely nothing. I don't have any bad date stories.
So your lives are just perfect then?
Perfection. No, it's just that, like, I guess there's nothing that was, like, notable or nothing bad that happened, no bad memories or nothing. I didn't pull anyone's wig off. That's for damn sure.
or did they pull your wig off?
No.
No
hair extension loss, no wig loss, no hair loss in general.
Yeah.
We were fine in that area. But
I feel like in that department I've gotten away by a hair. Like I haven't, I haven't had a bad date at all.
Well, thankfully, I have to say, look, you know, we put the message out there on our socials and we said, look, you know, tell us your dates gone wrong stories.
Yeah, because there has to be so many out there.
There are tons. And I've picked a few of my favourites here tonight.
Right.
So I have to read these out to you, okay? And
I want to hear.
I'm going to eliminate names just to protect the innocent, okay?
Okay.
So, look, this is the first one, which I thought was hilarious. So, the first date with this guy, we met at the bay, thinking it would be a lovely beach date, wine by the ocean, lovely setting. Oh, no, I was so wrong. I got taken to a front sports bar where the port game was on.
Oh, God.
Lunch was chicken wings and beer.
Oh, Christ.
Oh.
I got told to shut up because the game's on. Oh, and then he proceeded to tell me his son and his mates might be joining us.
Right. Well,
oh, my God.
But that begs the question, like, do you actually constitute that as a date? Like, if that was... Like, you know, if you were going out with someone, they invited you out and then you rocked up to that situation, would you sit there and go, this was a date or this was just a friend zone situation?
Well, hence to say this person never saw them for date number 2.
No.
And never saw them.
I mean, did they
never saw them for a
one?
friend again.
You would not. No, because, I mean, there has to be... Surely they had to know it was a date.
Look.
And, you know, there's a lot of controversy around dates as well. What's acceptable, what's not. You know, now that we're in equality, things should be a certain way or doesn't matter. Can we get to know each other? I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit old school.
Do you know what I want to know? I want... If that person that wrote that to us on our social media is listening, I want to know, did you have to pay for your chicken wings and beer or did they at least pay for your chicken wings and beer?
Well... If that caller or DMer can slide into our DMs again, that would be fabulous. Let's call her Brenda. Yeah. Or Maud.
Okay. Hopefully she has found love since with someone that is not a Port fan or, you know, just someone that doesn't prioritise football over her.
Well, to me, you could win me over with beer and chicken wings. I think that's great.
Well, you wouldn't win me over with
But you wouldn't win me over with the sport.
Yeah.
Or the sun.
No.
But the next story I've got, this is a big one, right? So here we go. I met a guy from a dating site. He claimed to be a paramedic in the army. And at the time I was a nurse in a busy emergency department. We agreed to meet up at a pub, but at the last minute he asked if we could just have a couple of drinks at mine instead as it was a 42-degree day. Of course I agreed. We had a great time, really hit it off, and it started to become a regular thing. He said he was just discharged from the army for injuries he got to his feet from combat boots. Okay, it gets better.
This is quite the story.
So he was on the army pension and didn't drive because of his feet.
Oh, wow. That's horrible.
It gets worse. So it wasn't long until he was asking me for lifts here and there because, doctors, specialist appointments had to be made.
Right.
Oh, God.
Okay.
They couldn't take public transport or Uber.
Wait, so this is after the first date?
This is after the first date.
Okay, after the
They
first
said
date.
it made this a regular thing. So obviously they had been on a few dates, but they weren't exclusive, I'm going to assume. They weren't actually dating, like officially.
I wouldn't be exclusive with this guy.
Okay.
Let me tell you.
All right,
So
keep
one
going.
day he was staying at my house and went off to his cricket game. And when he was gone, I
How
heard
could
him...
he play cricket if he couldn't drive?
Well, that's actually a very good point.
And he didn't have feet. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah.
I would have started questioning.
There's a gap in that
right
story.
there. Yeah.
Was he doing it in a chair? Maybe he got a chair out for that.
Cricket. I don't know. I mean, how did that? I haven't quite caught on to how that first date went. It was so good to meet you. Like, I'd love to see you again. Would you take me to the physio tomorrow?
Well,
like, what the hell happened in that situation?
But anyway, so look, to finish off this story, when he was gone at this, non-foot cricket game, she'd heard a message tone coming from his bag in her room. So she went snooping and found another phone.
Oh.
So this idiot apparently didn't have a password on it, and after looking through it, she found that he had 3 other girlfriends.
Or Uber drivers.
All Uber drivers. He was not medically discharged from the army.
Oh, no.
He had gone AWOL.
Oh.
And all those appointments that this girl dropped him off to, we're dropping him off to meet up with other women.
Oh, my God. Wait, what happened to his feet, though?
Or did he actually have feet?
I didn't hear the
I don't
end
think
of
they
the
said he
story.
lost his feet. I think he always had feet.
But,
Yeah,
but when we're looking for love, we do silly things and we date silly people
Yeah,
because we
that's
just want
true.
company, right? So it didn't matter if, the story, I guess, didn't add up about his feet and playing cricket. All that mattered was, the companionship.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a heartbreaking one, really, in the end,
And
because we never knew whether he had feet or not.
I know. But as well, like perhaps they had a really nice connection. So that's really difficult because you kind of don't want to assume the worst of someone, even though the situation might be a little bit questionable, because maybe you get along with them really well and you're thinking, like it might not be perfect, but it's working or whatever the case is. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
Well, it makes me feel better about my situation with Wigman.
Does it?
I mean, at least mine had feet.
Yes.
He may not have
You
had the
pulled
hair.
his wig
And
off in
before-
town, Aaron.
And before we throw to the song, I want to ask a question. I think it's the elephant in the room when it comes to Wigman as well. Because I've been thinking about this whole time. I think all of our listeners have been thinking about it this whole time as well. What colour was the wig?
Okay, well, here's the thing. It was multicoloured.
Okay, and then that begs the second questions. Do the drapes and the curtains match?
I think you mean drapes and the carpets.
Oh, shit. Drapes and curtains are the same thing.
Drapes and curtains are the
See,
same
this is what I mean.
thing.
I'm useless in this situation.
Well, look, I don't know because I never actually got to that base. But from what I could tell, he had wooden floorboards.
Hardwood. Hardwood floors, and that leads into our song, I think. Take it away, David E.
It's brand new show, Two Brunettes and a Gay, and we are back now. That song was Bellissima by Annalisa, a great hit that we actually heard for the first time this week, and it was a banger. We loved that one.
We did.
And if you've just joined us, we've been talking all things Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day if you're just tuning in. But we're ready to change gears a little bit and get into our first official show guest.
Our first guest of the Two Brunettes and a Gay radio series. Very excited. A guest who we actually know personally because, we had the pleasure of meeting her. Her name is Elena, and I'm going to make sure I say her last name correctly as well. Kirschambaun, but I want to correct me when she comes on if I'm wrong. I did spend some time today trying to work out how to say it correctly as well, but we do know her personally because she is the co-director of Gluttony and a creative producer at Highwire Entertainment, and she actually helped us to get our Fringe show into Gluttony some years ago now. So she's an incredible woman. She is the program director at Gluttony, one of Adelaide's biggest hub venues for the Adelaide Fringe Festival, which I'm sure if you're an Adelaidean listening to this show, you all know Gluttony. And of course, being the creative producer at Highwire Entertainment, creating and touring circus and mixed art form shows all around the globe. A very busy woman at this time of year. Elena, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us for our first show. We're very excited to be talking to you because we know just how much you would be doing at this time of year. Are you bumping in at the moment? Are you on site?
Yeah. I just finished the tech rehearsal. In fact, it's going a bit overtime at tech rehearsal too, and I was like, oh, I have to step out. I've got an interview.
I just figured when we obviously got you lined up for this interview, I thought, oh my goodness, she must be doing a million things on this particular day, trying to fit it all in. But I mean, we know what it's like when you're trying to get everything organised. Plus, you still got to promote the show at the same time. It just means that your schedule is so jam packed. But you don't just have your own show to worry about. You've got, I guess, so many things that you have your fingers in pies at this time of year as well. Tell us about how it's all going there at Gluttony.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's coming along pretty well. I mean, this time of year is always absolutely crazy. These few days before everything opens, I mean, as you guys kind of well know, there's just so many things going on all at once, and everything is kind of interlocking. We've got a tech in one venue who's doing something, and then they have to race off to another venue. We've got artists who are coming in for tech rehearsals, and little things go wrong. They always do. So there's always lots of troubleshooting as well. But there's so many moving parts, and this time of year is so crazy to get everything up and running. But it's also so exciting because this is when we see everything come together. We put the program together in October the year before, so it's such an exciting thing when you kind of get to see, I guess, the fruition of all of this work that you've been doing for kind of 6 months. It's like, the couple of days before it opens is that sort of, I guess, the tension and that, like, that all of that excitement kind of bubbling away. You kind of can't wait to actually see it when it's full of people and happy smiling faces and all that kind of thing.
I cannot imagine how you even get any sleep at this time of year with all of this that's going on, just, making sure that you haven't missed a beat on anything. But in saying that, you're very experienced in this area, obviously, and you are also responsible for putting together multiple shows that, Adelaide audiences have been enjoying for years and years and years, some of the best hits. But today you're here to talk to us about a new show, The Defiant, I believe?
Yeah, well, it's sort of new. It premiered last year at Adelaide Fringe, so some Adelaide Fringe audiences would have seen it, but we've made a bunch of changes, so there's a lot of really new things in it, and also we won the overall award for Best Circus last year, so I think there's going to be new audiences that are kind of, when a show's new, then maybe it can fall under the radar a little bit, so hopefully this year, having, coming off the back of that award and some really incredible reviews and acclaim and things, we're really kind of excited to get set for this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to ask, what actually inspired the show?
So it was inspired by a couple of different things. Part of it was wanting to make a more theatrical show. So the shows that I've made in the past have been very cabaret. They, I guess, live in the world that you see them in. So, a show like Rouge, we're not sort of saying, oh, this is sort of set in a Parisian bar or something. This is kind of, these are performers being authentic and performing in front of you, doing what they're doing in this kind of sexy circus cabaret show. I guess it belongs kind of, we're not pretending that we're anything apart from kind of here at a Fringe Festival putting on a great show for you. Whereas The Defiant, I wanted to make something that was a bit more theatrical, so it actually kind of exists in a world. There's a little bit more world building and character building that's happening. So in amongst the circus and the live music, there is also sort of a story. So part of it was I guess, wanting to challenge myself and make something a little bit different. And because you often don't see that very much with circus, that real sort of pairing it with that theatricality. And part of it, to be honest, because the Defiant is a little bit different because it's an all-female and genderqueer cast.
That's amazing.
With lived experience of sort of living as a woman. And part of the reason for that was because I saw there were so many amazing women turning up to auditions and not getting hired by companies because they were performing things that were perhaps a little bit less traditional to be performed by women. Right. And I think a lot of the time when you see women on stage in a circus show, you're seeing very petite women.
Yes.
Women who are performing kind of quite traditional, sort of, I guess, feminine acts.
Yeah.
And when you've got these, like, powerhouse of really incredible women who aren't being hired because people are making assumptions about them, whether it's assumptions about things that these women can't do, like you're not strong enough or you're not good enough at this thing, or it's assumptions about what audiences want to see, like, okay, no, we're only putting on stage really pretty femme, petite women doing, like, really traditional kind of pretty femme acts. And, and then here were all these, like, incredible, like, badass women or, and genderqueer people, and they just weren't getting hired by any of the major companies, even though their strength, their technical skill was so much higher than some of the other people who were getting booked. And so I was like, God, we need to have a show that actually just celebrates this, that celebrates all the different bodies that exist in a circus space that isn't just, these kind of petite players, and showing the strength and the tenacity and the resilience of these women and these genderqueer people on a stage. I think, it offers audiences something really different. And the feedback that we got last year, I mean, we had people in tears coming out of from the show. And, not because of, I guess, the kind of the story of the show, but just being so inspired seeing these people on stage. And I think that was a really big part of what we wanted to do, was just make, an opportunity, a platform to showcase these people. And then on top of that, it's like, a fun kind of hardcore rock and roll show with a post-apocalyptic theme and with a lot of joy and a lot of care and kindness and things as well. So,
and that's exactly what we need right now.
Yeah. It sounds awesome. And Eleanor, are all the performers in the show, are they all local acts?
They're actually, no, I was going to say they're all Australian, but that's not even true. No, they're from all over. So we have, everyone who is performing in the show is based in Australia. But we have a couple of internationals. We've got a world champion sports acrobat from America. We've got our one-person musician. He's an incredible drummer, guitarist, and songwriter from New Zealand. Wow. And then the performers are from all over the place. So we have, people from almost every state in Australia.
I love that.
So it's, quite a collection.
That's awesome.
It is great to see, and it's so great to see that you're putting together something that's, busting through stereotypes at the end of the day, because, we love that, and we're all about, not fitting traditional molds whatsoever, and I guess, showcasing talent. And that's what the Fringe is all about, and that's what I love about Fringe as well. Absolutely. But, giving a platform to people of all different, types that have such amazing talent, going on. It's such a wonderful thing that you're doing.
So, Eleanor, where and when can we see the Defiant?
So it's on at Gluttony at 6:40 every day of Fringe, apart from Monday. Running all the way through.
Awesome. So you've got a lot of shows to come.
A lot of shows, and it's a big tent to fill, so come on down.
That's amazing. Well, we wish you the very best of luck, and thank you so much for taking your time to speak with us here today. Obviously, you've been an incredible guest, and thank you for the incredible work that you do to provide, I guess, venues for artists, like ourselves in the past, in Adelaide, and acts from all over the world and all over Australia at the same time as well, and being part of such this amazing festival at Fringe Time. I think everyone's really excited. We just absolutely cannot wait for Friday to come along and to be on this side and enjoy everything that's happening. So if you want to go and see the Defiant, please go ahead, support the show. They are in Gluttony, of course, in the Peacock, which is in Rymel Park, and they're showing every single night that the Fringe is open. Bar obviously a couple of nights. I think probably not Mondays is usually the deal.
Mondays, every other night. Every
other night, that's right, at 6:40 p.m. And obviously tickets can be bought through the Adelaide Fringe website, and obviously they can probably get them at the door at entering into Gluttony as well, can't they, Eleanor?
Yes, Yep. We've got a box office just at the front and then a box office on site as well. So, yeah.
And if anyone
Come
wants
on down, grab some dinner, grab a drink and see a show.
If anyone wants to give you a like or a follow, what are your socials there, Eleanor?
The Defiant Circus is us on Instagram and on Facebook. Way too old to be on TikTok, not nearly cool enough. So, but Instagram and Facebook, you can get us.
Thank you so much for joining us, Eleanor. Have a wonderful rest of your week and good luck with all the bumping in.
Yeah, cheers. I'll see you soon.
See ya.
you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And welcome back to Two Brunettes and a Gay, our very first show. Just before the break, that was the delectable, freshly awarded Grammy winner Harry Styles with the great song As It Was. And I'm actually super excited. I know the girls are too. We've got a very, very special couple of guests here in the studio, don't we, Deanna?
We actually have our very first live in-studio guests here with us right now, which we're very excited about. We have for you Anthony Tran and Faye McFarlane, who are from Circus Sorbet.
Love that name.
Hello.
Right.
Thanks for having us today.
Welcome to the studio. And they are presenting, yes, round of applause. And they are presenting a very exciting new show, Love Life Laundry, as their Adelaide Fringe debut, which we're going to get into in just a moment. But firstly, welcome to the show and welcome to Adelaide as well. We were talking to you a little bit off air, but you were saying this is your second time in Adelaide or third time in Adelaide?
Third time.
Third time in Adelaide. Excellent. And you haven't performed here before?
No, this will be our first time performing. We were here last year for some research, but we weren't able to do anything last year. So we're excited.
Awesome. What did you think of the Adelaide Fringe from what you saw last year?
It's a bit like Perth Fringe on steroids.
Okay, see, we've never seen Perth World Fringe before. That's something that we definitely want to see, but we never have. So it's amazing to hear that you guys kind of compare the two. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Perth Fringe is much, I'd say, smaller. There's a few places and some independent venues, but in Adelaide there seems to be some really big hubs.
Yes.
And it's almost one hub is the size of Fringe here. Size of Perth Fringe.
Right. Okay, wow.
So
okay.
Adelaide Fringe is, I guess, the second biggest fringe festival in the world, and the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere, which is our claim to fame in Adelaide here, which is very exciting. Woohoo, go Adelaide for something, right? So we're very excited about that, but we're very excited to have you because obviously not only is this our first show, but it is also a Valentine's Day show.
Yes.
And everything we're doing today is all about love. And so when we were looking through the media portal for all the different fringe shows and we typed in shows about love, yours was one of the first ones to come up, and as I was reading through I thought, now this is a story for radio.
Yes.
This is a story for radio. But before we get into that, I want to ask you a little bit more about yourselves first as well. So let's start with you, Faye. Tell us a little bit more about your performing journey.
So I did gymnastics originally as a kid, and then I think when I was in high school I was finishing up and looking for something different, and then got into circus, and I've been performing in the Perth Fringe I think about 10 years now.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow, 10 years in the
It's our decade this year too,
Yeah.
so congratulations.
Yeah,
Happy decade.
Yeah.
Shots,
Not sure if you guys know this or not, but we actually come from being fringe performers ourselves. So we've got a background in cabaret.
Yeah.
We were actually originally met 15 years ago in children's entertainment. So we were in a kids group called the Funkies.
Can you believe that?
And then to cabaret. Nice.
And then we went to adult
Easy
cabaret.
segue into that. Yeah.
We went to adult cabaret. We often get asked, what's the difference between adult cabaret and children's entertainment? And Aaron, your answer always is...
Well, about 6 beers, really.
So do you
Adults are just the same as kids,
Did you end up taking your children's show and just adding a bit more of a spin on it?
We
Pretty much.
We kind of made our children's show R-rated.
Yeah.
A little, maybe a little more like that. But we had that big transition from kids into adults, and then we did the fringe circuit, and then we stopped the fringe circuit in 2020, and then COVID hit, and now we have a radio show.
So there you go. And so we understand the background of how hard getting to the fringe circuit can be as well. But Anthony, tell us a little bit more about your performing journey.
So I am a personal trainer by trade. I'm very physical. I love doing different things. And then in 2015, my friend invited me to a local circus troupe, and this is where I met Faye. And then together we were invited to do a local show. And that year, that's when halfway through the season, we started to have a thing. And we got together. So we continued our train and we continued our romance, and we've been doing this together ever since.
Wow. And that's the thing about when you do rehearsals and you know, for a show with someone, and I've been on the circuit for so many years, even as a teenager and things as well, you spend a lot of time with people, and so then you get to know them, and that's why a lot of romances come out of shows, but not necessarily a lot of them last as long as you guys. So tell us, I've got it all here, and obviously, you know, but I want to hear it from you guys. Tell us a little bit about your romance story and how this all came to be.
Okay, I'll start. So just like I mentioned, we met in 2015 and we were dating for 5 years. In 2020, we debuted our original duo show called Five. Five is a duo circus show that celebrates 5 years of Fringe performances and 5 years of romance.
Oh,
yeah, so that's it. That was our punchline.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah. But unfortunately, halfway through that season, on the fourth night, I was performing an aerial act and I was 4 meters up on a rope, and my mistake, I let go of the rope when I didn't need to, and I fell and injured myself.
Oh, ouch.
Oh my God.
What was the injury?
So I ended up breaking 4 of my vertebrae, fractures.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, and what was the recovery process like for that?
So with that type of injury, they put you in a frame, a cast. So I had to wear a brace for 3 months. And then from there, it's a slow recovery of rehab and prehab.
Okay, and so you were in prep for a show at that point in time?
No,
They were doing the show.
You were in the middle of the show.
It was in the middle of the show, yeah.
Fourth show.
Right. Did you
And
have an
that
understudy at the time?
No. No one would put up with her.
No. So
Happy Valentine's Day.
That season was all over then.
Yeah, he thought he was going to come back the next day. We were in the ambulance, and they're giving him drugs, and he's in pain, and he's like, "Do you reckon we can give the Ambo driver some comp tickets to tomorrow night?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't think there's a tomorrow night."
Oh, my God. And how many shows
Saturday.
did you have to go still? Like, obviously, you're 4 in.
I think another 2 or 3.
Okay, so 2 or 3, because you're about halfway through your season, and then it was all over after that.
Yes.
Well, for that season, how did you feel in that, Faye?
So it was obviously pretty scary. I was lucky I wasn't watching at the time, so everyone thought I was really calm, but I actually just didn't know what was happening.
That was what I was going to ask. Were you actually on stage when it happened, or was it something that you didn't see? Obviously, it was something you didn't see.
Yes, I was still on stage, but just at the front of the stage.
Okay.
So, yeah, heard the bang, turned around, and was like, "Oh, this is not part of the choreo."
Okay.
And so then had to stop the show and...
Was it, how far through the show was it? Was it the beginning of the show, or were we talking sort of near the end? Like, was it?
It was about 3/4.
It was definitely midway at least.
Yeah.
So it's quite has a lot of expressions and drama in the show. So at this point in time, everyone thought it was a part of the show. Yeah, so there's a bit of confusion because it was such at this part of the narrative, it was quite dramatic.
Right.
Yeah, so everyone was hesitating because they weren't sure.
Okay, so you're saying everybody on the sidelines and, you know, all the crew and everyone's there sitting there going, wait, is he doing this as part of the act as well? Or the audience, or was the crew cottoning on, but the audience didn't cotton on?
Yeah, all the crew knew that wasn't what's supposed to happen, but the audience weren't too sure. They were waiting for him to get up.
Thinking that, it was part of it. Yeah. Wow, okay. And so after that happened, I mean, coming back, did you have a lot of fear getting back into it again and kind of going after this injury? Like, is this something I want to continue doing, or did you always know you were going to rehab the injury and get back out there as soon as you could?
So I realized I'm a very physically driven person. So as soon as I was off my drugs, I realized I want to get back on straight away. Mm-hmm. For me, I don't think it was as hard of a situation to deal with as Faye felt it was, because when I fell, I actually blacked out. And even trying to think about it now, I don't have very clear memories. So for Faye, she was obviously much more conscious the whole time, and she was much more actively taking what was happening, whereas I was in and out. So when it was my time to return back to the aerials, I was actually reasonably okay. Yeah.
Wow, that is such a story. And so I guess from then, what was next for you guys? And how's your journey been from then, getting to, obviously, Love Life Laundry itself?
Mm-hmm. So in 2021, we just repeated the show because we just wanted to do it again and just finish the season, really.
Yeah, of course.
So we did that and finished it, did really well. And then in last year we decided to tweak it, and that's when we kind of put 5 and then added what happened with the fall and a bit more of the history, and then we've put it all together.
Right, and so this particular story then, obviously it says, I've got here, it's a deeply personal and heartfelt show that will celebrate couples' love of performance, rich connection and history with the Fringe. So is this really about your love story and the Fringe?
So the best thing about our show is that it's an authentic reflection of who we are and how we are in real life. So we've taken our energy and how we deal with each other and how we manage each other. Sorry, how we deal with each other and our relationship, and we put it straight into stage. We've also taken in real life events so that we can show all sides of a relationship, and we've created a very relatable show that way.
It sounds wonderful, and I think we'd like to dive a little bit more into that.
Absolutely. Stay with us because we're going to have more from Anthony and Faye after the break. We've got the 6 p.m. news coming up and we will be back.
Welcome back to Two Brunettes and a Gay. That was Pink with Trustful, and her album's out this Friday. I'm very excited for that one.
Yes, another Pink album hits the shelves.
And speaking of Pink, David has just informed us in the break that song choice was very poor on our behalf because apparently, if you've been listening, we have Anthony and Faye in the studio from Love Life Laundry, which is Life Love Laundry? Which is premiering in the Adelaide Fringe, and we've just been talking about an injury that Anthony sustained in a Fringe show a few years back. Mm-hmm. And the lead lyrics in the Pink song that we just chose are you going to fall? Is someone going to catch you?
Terrible.
How inappropriate.
But they're still with us, so I'm very excited that they haven't left.
And I think we had to fight them to stay, but they're here.
They're here.
Well, I mean,
angry.
And the good news is that somebody didn't catch him, but he's okay because he's here in studio with us.
Yay.
A few years later, so that's
me.
okay. But I mean, Faye, it probably would have been better if you did catch him because then it would have suited the song.
I would have been softer
choice.
than the floor.
You would have been softer, but you may have been crumpled yourself, so maybe not so good. I don't know.
Sacrifices must be made.
But yes, we are talking about all things Fringe. We have some Adelaide Fringe guests for their debut show here all the way from Perth. They've come over to the Adelaide Fringe here tonight, and they are talking to us about Love Life Laundry, their Adelaide Fringe debut show, which you've already performed, obviously, for the Perth audiences in the past Perth festival that just went on. When did that finish?
They're actually still going, the current Perth Fringe.
Oh, it's still going at the moment.
They finished
okay.
on the 19th.
So were you in this season of, or did you stop it all for Adelaide Fringe?
We were in 2 separate shows, which will also be in Adelaide Fringe. Mm-hmm. It's called Club d'Amour and Happy Endings.
Oh, okay.
Now you've won me at that one.
Please come.
I need to come to that one. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
So are happy endings guaranteed in that show?
50% of happy.
Look, I mean, I'll take that chance.
Look, 50% is better than 0.
I mean, for the price of a Fringe show, really, I mean, that's worthwhile.
Look, I think that's going to be my Valentine's Day gift to Mark. So
yeah.
The tickets.
Yes.
Slightly
different. We're a bit more wholesome, our duo show, but that show, not so wholesome. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the wholesome one then. So tell audiences what they can expect if they were to come and see you in Love Life Laundry.
So our show will cover a day in our lives. To have a sneak peek from the moment we wake up and all the way through our chores, our wake up routines, our workouts, our protein snacks, and we try and make a show that's relatable, but through acrobatics, through aerials, and terrible dancing.
I love that. I love that. And so is the terrible dancing intentional, or is it just that you're not very good at dancing?
Well, it depends who you ask, but it's very, let's say, it's very energetic, if anything. It's very, we put ourselves put all of ourselves into it. So maybe.
Well, considering how good you guys seem to be at everything else, you have to have one downfall. It's just normal that there's one thing that you're not great at. So for you guys, it's dancing, because I imagine at everything else you're phenomenal.
You just have to come to the show and find out, right?
Yes, we will.
Right.
We would love to come to the show. And also, one thing that I found really interesting as well is that it says the opportunity to present Love Life Laundry in Adelaide has been made possible through the support of the Adelaide Fringe Artists Fund and the Adelaide Fringe Donor Circle. So tell us a little bit more about that and how that helped you guys get the show on the stage.
So Ant has been very hardworking, and I just didn't do much. And he's written 2 grants this year, and so then it was part of the grant application, and then from the funds that we've received, it's made it a lot more possible to actually get here.
Yeah, that's
just
amazing.
All the upfront cost, because there's a lot of upfront costs just even getting over here and putting the show on. So without that support, we probably wouldn't have
been able to do it. No, and you know what? I think being fringe artists ourselves, we understand this as well. The upfront investment it takes to actually put on a fringe show, and especially if you're doing one, with a decent, I guess, length season, which you are. What have you got? 15 shows? Probably?
No, we have seven shows.
Oh, 7 shows. You're doing a week. Sorry, there you go. So you've got a week's worth of shows, but the upfront costs that are involved in putting on a fringe show, and especially if you're coming from interstate. I mean, we always used to say how grateful we were to be local in Adelaide while putting on a fringe show.
Yes, so lucky.
It was no simple exercise. So we're so grateful that you guys could come over, and big props to Adelaide Fringe for making these things possible for artists from all over the country as well.
It's a hard gig being an artist, especially if you want a tour, right? I think you guys know, like you said, the upfront costs, and we didn't realize the actual reality of what it takes to tour a show until we did the grant itself. There's so much production costs, there's rehearsal costs, there's things you just don't think about, and it's actually amazing when you talk to artists. It is a hard life. It's a very difficult life.
Yes, we used to see people that year in, year out used to come back and tour shows, and we used to think these people do like all the fringe circuits worldwide all year round, and we just couldn't imagine, doing it.
I don't know how they do that.
Amazing.
It's a lot, isn't it? But we're super grateful to have you here. Now, being a Valentine's Day show, we would like to start asking you a few more Valentine's Day questions, because we, before you came in today, we've been discussing, a few topics around Valentine's Day. And so the first one that we discussed earlier, and we'd like to ask either of you or both of you, is do you have any bad Valentine's Day / bad date stories that you could share with us here on air? Any dates gone wrong? We want to hear that. We want to hear the tea.
Do you have anything?
No, I just have yours.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we want to hear.
She's spilling the tea.
Okay, so I met Faye through Circus, obviously. So we were performing the very first season. It was cute. I picked her up. We went to the actual show. I dropped her off. And then the very first date post Fringe season was the worst date I've ever had. Oh. It was so awkward. I met her after. So Faye's a nurse by trade, and I met her after work, and we went to a cafe. And Faye just wouldn't give me anything. She was as if she didn't know me almost.
Wow.
It was. I tried so hard, I'm amazed that it turned around so hard as well. Right. So after that first day, I was like, I'm not sure anything's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Faye, why were you just like not vibing with him?
I have no. I think it's because it was actually formal. Because we'd been at rehearsals, we'd been at training, we'd done the show. And then, they'd been quite laid back and relaxed. And then a week after the show finished, then it was a proper date. And I was like, oh, I just didn't quite know how to react.
Were you worried about that kind of like making a difference to the show or working together if it didn't work out, like going on a date?
Maybe a little bit as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the back of your mind.
Back of my mind. Yeah. It wasn't the main priority, but maybe a little bit.
Anthony's like, this is the first I'm hearing of this. What is this?
Well, yeah, I've never heard of this. All right, there you go. Well, thank you.
So I also want to know, so because you are a beautiful couple, I want to know those nights where, you're just not vibing, you're like, he didn't take the trash out, or, didn't put the dishwasher on, or something like that. Do you have those moments where you get on stage and you just, have to just switch it off and just find that chemistry, and it's just, is it natural or is it?
I think I love performing our show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So even if we are we've had moments where backstage we're really stressed and everything's happening, and then all of a sudden we've just got to start, and once it starts, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
You got to put it all behind you, and once you switch it on, afterwards you forget about everything.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Well, are you a grudge holder, Anthony?
So Faye's right. When the show starts, we're professional, and we just fall in love with each other again.
Yes.
But I'm the domesticated one at the house.
The secrets are it coming out here at Radio Italia.
So when Faye's under pressure, she likes to prioritize certain things, and then some other things just get a little bit left behind. And we kind of work with that in the show as well.
Okay. Yeah. So this is why the laundry element, I believe, has been
God, yes.
incorporated in the show.
Absolutely.
This is where it all comes from.
Well, it has been so amazing having you guys in the studio here as our first official in-studio guest for our first show. So thank you so much for joining us. Before you go, we want to hear from you guys. Where can we see you? When can we see you? What time? Where are you performing? Give us the details.
So we'll be performing at a brand new site called Fool's Paradise, which is at Victoria Square.
Awesome.
They open on 17th of February, which is all of Fringe as well. And we will be performing at 6 p.m. from the 17th of Feb to the 24th of Feb.
Excellent. And you are in a venue called The Pyramid, and obviously everyone can get their tickets through Adelaide Fringe website, but you also talked to us about a little promo code that you wanted to share.
It's Valentine's Day, and as a big thank you to you guys, I'd love to offer a promotional code. The promo code is Lovebirds.
Lovebirds.
Perfect.
One word, Lovebirds?
Lovebirds, one word. This is applied at the finalization of your cart, so make sure through the website. Also, as a part of Valentine's weekend, we have a bespoke ticket called Valentine's Ticket. 2 tickets with bubbles, a snack, and 2 VIP tickets. This is this weekend.
That is this weekend. Okay, so what, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday for that bespoke tickets.
Yes.
And if you want to take yourself out to a wholesome day to start your night, please come visit us, and you'll fall in love with each other all over again.
I think all 3 of us need to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Need to revive the marriage.
Yes, the marriages. Thank you so much, Anthony and Faye, for joining us. It has been a pleasure having you in studio here tonight.
It has been an absolute pleasure. You guys are incredible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's 2 Brunettes and a Gay, and we are back. We have just had our first official in-studio guests with us. We have farewelled them. It was Anthony and Faye from Fringe show Love Life Laundry, and they were joining us to talk about their incredible Fringe show, which we've just heard so much about. Definitely have to check them out. And now we're coming into the end of our show, guys. Can you believe first show is nearly over?
I can't believe it. It's gone way too quick, I think.
I think it has gone super quick, but you know what? It's been a great show, and it's been so good to have, some special guests in studio, and then obviously we had Elena as well on the phone from Gluttony talking about the Defiant, and both of those shows, if you've been listening to the show, you can get on the Fringe Ticks website, basically. Please go and support the Adelaide Fringe. As former artists ourselves, we just know how much we appreciate people coming to buy tickets, because it's a big thing to put on a Fringe show.
For sure, and we'll put it up on our socials as well if you want to have a look on our socials, which is both on Instagram and on Facebook. So please go give us a like or a follow.
Absolutely. We also have celebrated all things Valentine's Day, being that it is Valentine's Day. So if you have just joined us, happy Valentine's Day. We've shared some of our favourite Valentine's Day stories that were shared with us from guests, including Aaron's wonderful story that featured in the Advertiser, didn't it, Aaron?
Now, I do have to say, yes, it's official. It's in the Advertiser, in the article written by the beautiful Anna Vlach. Huge thank you to Anna Vlach for putting us in the Advertiser, our little show. And, so the rest of South Australia and the world now know about my Wigman story.
Yes, I think he will forever be embedded in our hearts and our minds as Wigman.
And in our hair.
And embedded in our hair.
Yes. Now, okay, before we go, I want to know, what are the Valentine's Day plans, guys? Deanna, where are you off to tonight?
Look, I am actually going to be heading a little bit later to the wonderful Africola, which I know is quite well known here in Adelaide. I've got to be honest, though, it's my first time. Mm-hmm. I am a virgin for Africola.
It's delicious.
I've never been either.
And there's I think is it the burnt cabbage or burnt... But I think it's the burnt cabbage, which tastes delicious.
You're asking 2 people that had just said they've never been.
Oh, yes, I forgot that you just said that.
But now I feel like you've just ruined it for me, because I don't want burnt food.
And especially burnt cabbage. Anyway, I'm not doing a good job promoting it, am I?
How about you, Aaron? What are you doing?
Well, I won't be eating burnt cabbage.
He'll be eating raw cabbage.
Tonight I'll be eating
a cabbage pasta.
Tonight I'll be eating. Yes, I'll be eating pizza tonight at the beautiful Melt in Hyde Park, which I only had a couple of days ago, actually, for a birthday, but I'm really looking forward to more delicious food there. So shout out to Melt. We're on our way soon. And what about you, Celeste? Where are you going tonight?
I'm going for a spot of Korean, which I don't think I have had much at all when I think about it. So Plus 82 Mimi, which is right here on Sturt Street, not too far away from Radio Italia Uno. But before we go, we do have some really special thank yous that we need to make because this was our first show. And in the lead up to our first show, in getting here, there is so many people that have made this possible. So we cannot leave without thanking those important people.
We certainly cannot. And I think, firstly, obviously we could start with all of our family and friends and the people that have supported us. Obviously, each of our wonderful partners who have been here numerous times while we've been in to the studio, prior to actually having our own show, getting on this radio journey. They've been here to support us. And to everybody who's gotten on board that we know that, keeps sharing stuff about the show on social media, interacting with our posts, liking everything, helping us get the word out there as well. You all know who you are, and we're so grateful to each and every one of you because without an audience, we literally can't do what we do. And we said this when we were Fringe performers as well, but without an audience, we're absolutely nothing. So your support means the absolute world to us. And then
it really does. Thank you.
Yes. And then I think next in the mix, obviously, will be a big thank you to Radio Italia and to the wonderful Mark Aston, who has given us this incredible opportunity. David's like, so sorry, not so wonderful.
He didn't want that to be aired, Deanna.
He's not. No, everything gets aired. Everything gets aired. No, the wonderful Mark Aston, we wouldn't be here without him. It's just, we're so lucky to have fallen in the incredible hands of someone like Mark who has so much experience and helping us out with this show and teaching us everything we need to learn the ropes. And of course, that goes without saying, our favourite person in the world, the person panelling for us right now, Mr. David Heath himself.
Woo!
David, it goes without saying that without you, we just would not be here today. The story goes, we contacted David last year and said, hey, David, we want to put together a podcast and, we would love you to kind of listen to us do some practice runs and give us some mentoring. And he was like, yeah, nah, you know what? Like, I'll mentor you if you come live on my show. And I think you guys will love live radio. And we were like, oh, I don't know about that. So without David, we wouldn't be here today.
And here we have our own show. So, yeah, there you go. And the entire Radio Italia Uno community, thank you so much for everyone that was involved in kind of getting us to this point. It has been quite a journey. And when we kind of organised this, we thought, we've got plenty of time. And then the last week has been an absolute mad dash. But here we are, and we couldn't have done it without all of you. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. But that, I think, is all from us this week, isn't it, team?
That concludes our show. Our first show's over.
Our first show's over. But, I'm so excited to come back again next week, if they don't change the locks, of course. Because we've got some more fabulous guests, more fabulous music.
Yes.
And some excellent stories to tell next week as well.
And in fact, we should give a little teaser. Next week, we have a few interviews lined up. We will be interviewing the wonderful Cleopatra Higgins. And if you don't know who she is, you can look her up. She is actually a very well-known contestant from UK Idol. She's also, if you are a 90s baby like we are, she was from the girl group Cleopatra coming at you in the 90s as well, so we're very excited to have her. We've also got Adelaide's favourite Rob Pippin on, and then we might have another surprise show for you.
Surprise guest.
David and us, we're in competition at the moment with guests for the show, so he's just laughing at us because he already bet us to it. You already had Rob in the studio, didn't you? There you are. But if you missed David's show, tune into ours because we'll have Rob on there for you, and then of course some more special Fringe guests happening next week as well.
So we have been Two Brunettes and a Gay. Head to our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and give us a like or a follow. We'd love to have you join us on there as well and kind of follow our journey. Listen in next Tuesday at 5 p.m. for your drive home. We will be back, and we can't wait to come back with show 2.
Have a fabulous week, everyone. Wow, girls, our very first radio show.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Okay, so I can see it now. Gotcha calls. Competitions with massive prizes.
Yeah, but this is community radio.
Okay then, well, what can we have?
How about hot gossip and classic tunes?
And plenty of celebrity guests, locally, nationally, and from all over the globe.
Now that's a winner.
Get ready, Adelaide, for the freshest, campest and most fabulous drive home.
That's Two Brunettes and a Gay, 5 p.m. Tuesdays exclusively on Radio Italia Uno, 87.6 FM.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.